चालू बोर्ड आहे ना थोडासा याच्यात क्लोजमध्ये घे टाकलं आहे लाईव्हला लॅपटॉप पण
तुमचा अकाउंट ॲड करता येईल माझ्याच्यानं पण टीचर पाठवणार मेल करवता आपका मेल आई डी क्या है हाँ बॉक्सचा माय ॲड्रेस पण बॉक्समधून कसं लॉग इन करायचं त्यांच्या वेबसाईटवर मग ते इथून याला इंटरनेट नाही आहे याला आहे इंटरनेट पण त्यांच्याकडे इथे ती बाहेर नाही इथे कनेक्शन आहे इकडे कनेक्शन आहे इथं हां पण त्यांचं कसं आहे वायफाय ओपन त्याला जेव्हा इंटरनेट ॲक्सेस करायचं ना तर तुम्हाला लॉग इन करावं लागेल खाली जाऊन त्यांचं करावं लागतं ते आय टी सेक्टर तिथे जाऊन इथे मॅच नाही तर असंही करू शकतो ना त्याला लॅपटॉपला घेऊन डायरेक्टली याचा ॲक्सेसवर की लॅपटॉप बॉक्सला वायफाय बॉक्समध्ये स्पेशल आहे आणि ते त्याला कॉन्फिगर करा 2 तास किती वेळासाठी आता आपण 2 तास बोला 2.5 तास कार्यक्रम आपण बसतो ते सगळं करावं लागेल हो बरोबर आहे तर ते आपलं चालू आहे ना लायसन जोरात यूट्यूब लाईव्ह वगैरे चालू असतात कार्यक्रम काही तुम्हाला सगळे डिटेल्स टाकलेले माझे पाठवलं ना जाईल ना बोलेल ते निघणार आहे आज रात्री सकाळी येणार आहे इकडे ते काय खरेदी वगैरे पार्टीत आम्हाला काही आहे केव्हा त्यांना ना ते फोन करून द्या हो
काही चाललं तर
ते जास्त आहे. क्वालिटीमध्ये फरक पडतो. किती दिले मला मगाशी ना फक्त फरक पडत आता फरक पडत एमटीमध्ये चेक करून फायदा याला धीरज धीरज धीरज
तो करता आहे तुम्हाला टॅक्स पाहिजे असेल तर एक्स्ट्रा जीएसटी $13 seats.
साडूंचा मुलगा तिकडे राहत होता डॉक्टर त्याच्याशी गप्पा मारताना ही वॉज रिमेंबरिंग द कॉलेज डेज तांबोळकर अजित तांबोळकर तिथे रूम होते तिथे
Hello everyone, it's my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome to you all. We have all been eagerly waiting for this evening. Today is indeed a special day with a distinguished architect in our midst, architect Ravi Sarangan. Your presence makes us very happy, sir. Before we start, I request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
Before we proceed with the program, we take this opportunity to introduce ourselves. The charming lady on my side is Suruchi Vendive, your host for the evening.
And the gorgeous lady to my right is architect Ritu Sharma, and together we will navigate you through this enchanting evening.
We are happy to have you all with us today. We want to acknowledge the institutional representations that we have with us. A&D Chairperson, Charudatta Nerkar and Kiran Rajwade. I request Rupali and Sagar to please acknowledge their presence. The institutional representations that we have with us. Krishna Rakhi, Principal from MIT College of Architecture and Center of Design. Natasha Persay from MVP Samaj College of Architecture and Center for Design. Darshana Desai from Idea College of Architecture.
Change, whose inevitability we cannot ignore. Change, which is the only constant thing in our lives. And today we are going to witness a change of guard in the IIID Nasik chapter. Today, Tarannum Kagri, architect, the chairperson of IIID Nasik chapter, would be relinquishing her post after 2 years of wonderful service in the face of all the challenges thrown at her with the pandemic. To step into her shoes, we have the charismatic and dynamic architect Vaishali Pradhan. To formally inaugurate the event with a small yet significant cultural gesture, I request Ritu to invite the guests.
Our guest of honor today, Architect Ravi Sarangan, Architect Vaishali Pradhan, immediate past chairman of IIIT, Architect Taranum, Chairperson IIIT, Architect Vaishali, Chairperson-elect ID Atul Bora, Honorary Secretary Arupali Zaikekar, our trade partners for the evening, Mr. Subodh Sangha from Keynote and Jitubhai Batavia from Plywood Corporation. May I all invite you for this auspicious occasion.
Cheerful, compassionate, tactful and passionate about the organization. These are few of the traits of our immediate past president, Chairperson Taranum Kadri. I request her to give her address and tell us about her journey with IIIT Nasik chapter. Ladies and gentlemen, Architect Taranum Kadri.
Different circumstances.
Hello. Thank you, Suruchi.
जहाँ हुर्फों की ना तालीम मिली हो, ना ही हुर्फों का चलन। जहाँ हुर्फों की ना तालीम मिली हो, ना ही हुर्फों को चलन। आओ इस बुरे अंजुमन में एक नई गजल लिखते हैं। A very good evening to one and all. This is the evening that stands special as we welcome the new, express gratitude towards the old, when we embrace the beginning and cherish the memories. The evening to set goals and cross the targets that's been achieved. I, Taranum Kadri, is pleasure to welcome all the senior fraternities who are present here to bless us, all my chapter members, the shoulder strength of IIT, all the past chairmen, the support system, trade partners, our esteemed guest for the evening, Architect Ravi Sarangan sir. It's an honor to have you here with us. Last but not the least, the managing committee for the term 2021. Welcome everyone. As I hand over the baton of chairmanship, I feel proud to mention that it's been taken by one of the most able, responsible, perfectionist personality, who's multifaceted as an architect, an academician, as well as a Rotarian, a friend that I have known for 2 decades and more. Architect Vaishali Pradhan. Vaishali, this is for you. तू शाहीन है परवाज है, तू शाहीन है परवाज है काम तेरा, तेरे सामने आसमान और भी है. I extend my heartiest congratulations to Architect Vaishali and Architect Rupali Zaikekar as the Honorable Secretary for their term 2021-23 and wish all the success. Please keep them supporting the way you have been supporting all the last 10 years. Before briefing you all about term 2019-21, I would like to mention special thanks to Viva Aluminium Composite Panel and Daikin Air Conditioning, who supported us to start a very energetic tenure. I would also like to thank our sponsors for the IDCS events, which includes Haichiko Kitchens, Saigas, Mangal Cloth Stores, Lakshmi Timber and Hardware, Alchemist, Pidilite and Roff. As we all know, term 2019-21 is always going to be special. Special not just for me, but special for everyone, with its special conditions. With pandemic striking on each one of us lives, personally as well as professionally, with the support of most enthusiastic teammates, we covered almost 27 live and virtual events. Hard work and special efforts put in by team members got us almost 50 renewed memberships in the term of crisis. The beginning of the term, we experienced some remarkable and interesting transitions by architect Sanjay Puri to begin with. We had architect Swapnil Walvatkar and then architect Ketan Zamodekar. Time took a turn. We all had a new shift, a new normal to live with. Overcoming the testing times and challenges and keeping the energy flowing, trying to engage the chapter members, we had some interesting series of Zoom webinars with local and regional architects, as well as going limitless to cross the boundaries. We had architect Fiona Dunning from Melbourne, Australia, presenting her works. I would like to mention especially a big thank you to all the seniors and dear architects who've been supporting us in the series of webinars. Trying to keep the students involved with the design field, we conducted reading master practices, which where almost 33 series of reading master practices all over the country happened, and 3 institutes of Nasik could participate in it. And the kids, the students from the institutes really did a good job in that. Not just professionally or academically, Nasik chapter was also involved socially as a social consciousness under the as a responsible organization. In the terms of pandemic, we distributed almost 1,500 face shield masks to the police force and paramedic forces. And let me tell you, this was self-funded by the entire team. No sponsorship, this was all self-funded. Adding to this, with the huge support of our trade members and the Rotary Club, we helped in designing and constructing a small school, a Jilla Parishad school in Thakurpada near Trambakeshwar. The strength of any organization is its team and its unity, and this proved very true when we started planning for the IDCS, Indian Design Confluence and Showcase. With an overwhelming response and day and night efforts, we should have crossed the threshold, but we had to halt. Everything was put on pause due to the second wave of pandemic. Now that times have smoothened, we could have a chapter exchange program, experiencing the architecture and design through the Touch the Brick series, where we all visited Vadodara, and we could experience some marvelous designs by architect Deepan Gada and Rahul Durdi. The IID also has been conscious about its responsibility towards Mother Nature. On our Charter Day recently, we planted almost 100 trees, and we are going to take care for them at least a year. I have a small presentation about the entire tenure. Maybe just have the video, please. big voyage or a treasure hunt, you can say, where the sailing was smooth, but suddenly a Jack Sparrow pandemic COVID-19 hits us. It reminds me of the quote, "You are the captain of your ship, don't let anyone take the wheel." Clueless paths are known, how to navigate in such a situation, but when you leave, you must. Trying to adapt the new living at professional as well as personal fronts, new ideas gave birth. This gave rise to a lot of ideas and handling events over the virtual platform. Adjusting to the new technology, connecting to the members, keeping the energy flowing in the team members were tasking, challenging, but definitely it was fruitful. The voyage was too much demanding, but with enthusiastic and hardworking and talented team, the solutions were incredible, and you all have seen this. Though not physical due to the COVID norms and the strict restrictions, the flame of IID was kept burning, involving the seniors, the juniors from the fraternity, and this kept the fire within our tummy burning days. Assimilating the failures, trying new things and achievements, I have found my treasure at the end of the day. It's none other than my own teammates, my jewels. They are buffed, dusted, polished, and refined to take the charge of the voyage in the ocean of IID as term 2021-23. Lastly, a smooth seal never made a skillful seller. Every beginning has to end to start anew. Congratulations to Vaishali and Rupali, and a very good luck to the new team under their leadership. But before signing, it would be unfair if I do not express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every member of my managing committee who have been a strong support in this tenure. There's a small presentation. Can we just put off the lights if possible? Suddenly, you just know it's time to start. Something new and trust the magic of beginning. A beginning with blessings of parents cause miracles to happen. Thanking Almighty for blessing me with a great family. Not a perfect one, but definitely a great one. Anything is possible when you have the right people there to support you. You leave no stone unturned. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. The strength of a team is each individual member. The strength of each member is a team. So, tough times don't last. Tough teams do. But with tough times comes happiness. Happiness makes all things beautiful. The most beautiful thing in life are not just things, they are people and places. Memories and pictures. They are feelings and moments. And smiles and laughters. Cherish these moments. Tomorrow, they will be memories. I have certain moments to cherish and share with you all. My Safarnama with my lovely people around.
Oh
Unity is strength. When there is teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can be achieved. To all my wonderful people, thank you so much. You have been an amazing support. God bless you all. जाते हुए सिर्फ इतना कहूँगी, फिर से कहूँगी, जो पहले दिन भी कहा था आज भी कहूँगी, कि आसमान से तोड़ लाई हो तो क्या, आसमान से भी तोड़ लाई हो तो क्या, इनकी चमक कभी कम न होगी। ये सितारे मेरी किस्मत में हैं, उम्मीद और करूँ भी तो क्या, इनसे ज़्यादा अब कुछ और न होगी, इनसे ज़्यादा कुछ और न होगी। Wishing Vaishali and Gopal heartiest congratulations, a great success, and dear chapter members, please keep supporting and blessing all of us. Thank you. God bless you. This evening would be incomplete if I don't recognize the efforts put by team, managing team 2019-21. May I request ID Atul Bora and Honorable Secretary Atul Bora and Honorable Treasurer Hakim Sinderwala, please escort the chief guest of the evening, Architect Ravi Sarangan, to the stage, please. Therefore, I would request you to do the honors.
I request the committee members to proceed towards the stage. Immediate past chairman of the term 1920, ID Akash Loya. Incoming chair, Architect Vaishali Pradhan. Vice chairperson, trade, Mr. Sachin Gami.
Very emotional. Sir.
Immediate past chairman, team 1920, ID Akash Loya. Incoming chair, Architect Vaishali Pradhan. Vice Chairman Trade, Mr. Sachin Gami. Honorary Secretary, ID Atul Bora. Honorary Treasurer, ID Hakim Sinderwala. Joint Secretary, Architect Sagar Kabre.
Needs a bigger round of applause. Please.
Managing Committee members, Architect Rupali Zaitirkar. Architect Sheetal Sapla. ID Prasad Ganore.
पे बना
ID Anil Raka. Architect Smita Vani. Mr. Jitendra Batalia. Committee members, Architect Nitin Patel. Architect Ajvijit Kothari. Architect Suruchi Randile. Architect Yogesh Hamne. Advisory Board, Architect Ravi Dable. ID Akash Kalam. Architect Supriya Nathe. Architect Hemant Dugar.
I request Honorable Secretary to acknowledge the Chairperson of IA, Sibodha.
It's time to ring in the new. It's time to welcome the new chairperson of the tenure 21-23. I request our guest of honor, Architect Ravi Sarangan, Chairperson Architect Vaishali Pradhan, to come on the dais for the ceremonial exchange of the portfolio. I also request Architect Taranum Kadri to proceed towards the dais.
Shambhu.
I now request ID Atul Bohra and ID Architect Rupali Saikherkar to come on the dais. I also request Honorable Treasurer ID Hakim Sindarwala to come on the dais.
We are indeed lucky to have a focused, charismatic and confident chairperson in Vaishali Pradhan. Ladies and gentlemen, I request Architect Apeksha Kute to introduce our chairperson, Architect Vaishali Pradhan.
Excellent job, Taranum. Welcome, Vaishali. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Team IIT, for giving me this privilege to formally introduce our new chairperson. Architect Vaishali Pradhan is our new chairperson for the term 2021 to 2023. Architect Vaishali is the principal architect of Studio VPA and has shown remarkable presence in the field for more than 27 years. The studio is rendering its services not only to Nashik region but also to Mumbai, Pune, Vadodara, Chennai, and I'm sure soon will have its footprints on many more cities. A dreamer at heart and a student for life, Architect Vaishali graduated from Sir J.J. College of Architecture in the year 1992 and went on to pursue her post-graduation from the same institute later in 2016-18, topping the university. Her research work, Significance of Courtyard Spaces in Contemporary Built Environment, was extremely appreciated, and now it's an integral constituent of our climatically sustainable designs. Architect Vaishali has been consistently associated with academics since 1994 for architectural design and final year dissertation work as design professor and had been appointed as a design chair too. She had also been a design jury for Drexel University, Philadelphia. Her experience as a Rotarian for more than a decade and handling responsible posts such as secretary, president, and assistant governor has helped sharpen her soft skills and management skills to a different level. Architect Vaishali, primarily an introvert person, possesses an intrinsic art of team and time management and take up new challenges and complete the task in front to the last detail with extreme dedication and commitment. Thoughtful planning, persuasion, focused and determined attempts always get her to success. I'm sure Architect Vaishali must have already planned her tenure as an IIID chairperson meticulously for all of us to experience various vividly crafted events to come. On behalf of IIID Nashik chapter, I wish my good friend Vaishali a very successful and fulfilling tenure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Apeksha ma'am. I now request Architect Vaishali Pradhan to address us and share her plans for IIID Nashik for the coming 2 years.
Thank you so much, Apeksha. That was really nice and it meant a lot coming from such an old and close friend. Good evening, everybody. I can't tell you what a pleasure it has been to meet all of you all in person after all these months. IIID Nashik chapter is indeed happy to have its first offline program. Things were difficult. This is going to be really special for us. Thank you so much. Any occasion which has the presence of your elders, your family, your close friends, our seniors in the profession, our guru, is the right occasion or the right mood to start a new journey in your life. And the presence of you all mean a lot to us as a team. IIID Nashik Regional Chapter, which is in its 30th year of inception, has been synonymous with quality and good content and new ideas. And as a new team takes over, we are indeed indebted to all the past presidents and of course our immediate past president Taranum for having set high precedents and standards. In the last year and a half, one has seen the very core of our existence challenged due to COVID, and that has probably taught us to value life and celebrate it in all its forms. And so, when the new team sat down to deliberate about the new term, it was with a purpose in mind, and the purpose being to understand the changes that have happened and try and see how the programs curated by us would have to be woven around these changes. Bringing about safety in all programs held by us being the foremost on our minds, and yet innovatively ensure that design, albeit in its new format, is celebrated. And as they say, the show must go on. And I'm so pleased and happy to share that in a short span of a month, the team has been successful in curating the program calendar for the tenure 21-23. And I acknowledge the contribution made by the teammates, Architect Abhijit Kothari and Architect Nitin Patel, in bringing forth this calendar for the entire tenure. Knowing that life has to be celebrated. In fact, each day has to be a celebration, because post-COVID, being alive itself is a celebration. With that in mind, I take great pleasure in unveiling the theme of the tenure 21-23 for IIID Nashik Regional Chapter.
our theme of the tenure 21-23, celebrating life through design. And I would like to acknowledge and appreciate the efforts taken by our young team of architect Yash Kataria. Yash, I hope you've come. Yes, he's there. And yet to be architect Neil Bothra in bringing alive our theme through this beautiful movie. And I request our secretary Rupali to please acknowledge their efforts through this floral bouquet. Design is omnipresent all around us, in nature, in art, in fashion, in appliances, in photography, in dance, drama, every aspect of life. And the one who is sensitized enough to understand the presence of design around us is whom we can term as a designer. And this tenure is all about celebrating design in its various forms. The way the calendar of events is curated, it encompasses experiencing design on all its formats. The team has ensured that the programs held are a mixed bag of award-winning designers of all age groups and under various interesting heads. Along with presentations, panel discussions and dialogues, we should also try to bring to you, saying, small groups of 35 to 50, pottery workshop, painting workshop, and even sculpting workshops. The idea is to just make the term a whole lot of fun for all its members. But more of this in detail shall be shared soon by our team members. We also have an idea of coming up with a tabletop calendar, which I promise you will be a collector's item and will have all the events and the speakers' names marked for ease in blocking your dates for event in advance. Academics has been for some time one of the major focus areas of IIIT, and taking this forward and in a bid to contribute our little bit in these times of online education, this year at IIIT Nasik Regional Chapter, we have tied up with 3 institutes under institutional memberships. And I have great pleasure in announcing the tie-up with MVP Samaj's College of Architecture, Vidyavardhan Idea Institute for Design, and MET School of Architecture and Design. Most of us in the team are into academics, and we thought this was just right time for us to do our little bit and contribute. And with these tie-ups, we shall try to ensure student participation through workshops, speaker meets especially, because we are going to have a huge pool of speakers who are going to come throughout the term, and we thought we could take the speakers to the colleges and actually have them address the students directly. We are also working on a format of understanding ways and means through which we as a team can actively contribute in forming placement cells for internships and jobs, and actively help in technical sessions, making site visit options possible through collaboration and participation of our IIIT members. Last year, like Taran mentioned, we have made a modest beginning of making a small contribution socially with the help of our trade members and team, and designed the smallest part of a school at Thakurpada in Trambakeshwar. This was a collaborative project with Rotary International, and this year too we are looking at contributing towards a social cause. But more of this later in the next meetings to come. I would now like to introduce the gems of IIIT Nasik Regional Chapter and the faces behind every successful program. The pillars on whom IIIT Nasik Regional Chapter rests so solidly. But before that, I would like to invite Architect Ravi Sarangan to please come up on stage to induct the new team. First and foremost, I would like to call upon stage our very popular and ever energetic immediate past chairperson, Architect Sarangan Kadri. popular secretary of the term 1921 and our chairperson-elect, I would request Sarangan to please be on stage because we are heading for a group photo after this. I would like to call upon interior designer Atul Bora. Vice Chairperson Trade of this term and the trade partner of today's event, Jeetubai Patavia. The new Honorary Secretary of Tenure 21-23, the ever-dependable architect Rupali Zaiketkar. Meticulous and perfect in his work of maintaining all the accounts of the IIIT Nashik Regional Chapter, interior designer Hakeem Sindarwala as the Honorary Treasurer. And our small energetic package without whom no program or outing is complete, architect Sagar Tavre as the Honorary Joint Secretary. Our very dependable pillars, flamboyant architect Sheetal Sakla. Co-op member and another of our most dependable members, architect Smita Vani. Another co-op member and a first-time member of IIIT Managing Committee, Sudeep Lodha of Wintrade Ceramics. I now announce the committee members, the ones who work tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure that the programs are held without glitches, and I would like to first call upon interior designer Prasad Ganore to come forward. Another of our pillars, interior designer Anil Raka. The one responsible for our calendar of events and the one we turn to for all our IT-related queries, architect Nitin Patel. Our MOC for the evening and another fellow JJI, architect Suruchi Randive. Another energetic and ever-dependable pillar, architect Abhijit Kothari. A trade member who has been closely associated with IIIT since the past 4 terms and a go-to person in terms of any government-related restrictions and norms, Sachin Da. Our subcommittee member who is in the team for the first time but is by no means a small entity, the dynamic architect Sandeep Yeola. Multi-talented, soft-spoken MOC of the evening, architect Ritu Sharma. Interior designer Shalvali Gaidani, the youngest member of our group. And trade member Jeetubai Patel of Lakshmi Plywood.
But not the least, I would also like to get my own stool.
This team will not be complete without our advisory board, the people who were instrumental in setting such high benchmarks to follow. I'd like to call upon past Chairperson, Architect Bakir Zafar, to please come on stage. Past Chairperson, Architect Ravi Katle, Architect Akash Kadam, Architect Supriya Nathe, Architect Hemant Dugar, Sarki Naik, and interior designer Rakesh Loya. An integral part of IIID are its trade members. In fact, IIID is the only organization who integrates the trade partners as members. And all these programs curated by us would have but remained as a draft on paper if not for the active support of our trade members who have come forward to partner us. On behalf of IIID Nashik Regional Chapter, I would like to appreciate and acknowledge their contribution towards bringing forth a tenure of celebrating design for its members. I would first like to call upon our team members who had faith in this concept of going in for a partnership with trade members and the ones who have come forward and helped us in this partnership. I request Architect Supriya Nathe, Architect Sandeep Yola and Architect Smita Vani to please come forward to felicitate the trade partners. As I call out your names, please come on the stage and stay back for a group photo. Beginning with our first patron sponsors, I would like to call Deepesh Patavia, Director of TVK Deepgiri. Deepesh has been instrumental in getting us our first two patron partners of the tenure in Nexian Tiles and Toto Ceramics. We would like to express our gratitude towards them for the same. We would be giving them a floral welcome. I would now like to call upon Gaurav Khandelwal, Zonal Head of Nexian Tiles, to come forward. Dipesh bhai, aap yahin pe rahiye. All of you all please stay back for the next people to come. Nexian Tiles, Mr. Gaurav Khandelwal, who is the Zonal Head. Mr. Prabhakar Kumar, Regional Manager Sales of Toto. These patron sponsors have given 5 lakhs for the entire term. We are very grateful to them. Our silver partners who have come forward to partner us with Excel Enterprises, Mr. Yusuf Ramwala. Mr. Yusuf Ramwala. I would now like to felicitate our yearly tabletop calendar partners, and I would like to request our interior designer Atul Bora, interior designer Hakim Sindarwala, and architect Sagar Kavre to come forward, please. Ceramic Arts, Ritesh Jaiswani. Mr. Ritesh Jaiswani, followed by Jia Dilani of Vaishnavi Electrical. Jia Dilani, Ashish Shinkar of Infinity Enterprises. Ashish Shinkar, Sagar Ahuja of Daffodils. Samir Malpure of Era Fans. Sumit Gandhi of Windtrade Decor. Jitendra Kothawade of Saptashringi Glass. Sagar Patil of Sunbird India. Haresh Bhai Patel of Sri Nilkamal Private Limited. Vivek Parikh of Parikh Plywood. Pawan Chatrisa of Cordial Kitchens. And Vivek Patil of Gangajal Nursery. Triple ID Nashik Regional Chapter recognizes and is grateful for your contribution. I would like to invite you all to please come up on the stage for a group photograph. Ravi, if you can please give us the honor of coming for a bit on the stage. Okay, I know I've taken a lot of your valuable time, but there were certain acts of gratitude which had to be done. Once again, on behalf of the team, I appeal to you all to keep participating, keep appreciating, and keep motivating. Because we are, because you all are. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vaishali, and wish you the very best for your tenure as a chairperson. We are all looking forward to an exciting 2 years under your leadership.
We all understand that life works through a network of systems, where the seniors are trailblazers and their experience become guiding light for the team. We are glad to receive a bunch of well wishes from our own National President-elect IIIT, Architect Tanuja Kanvinde, while she conveys her message through her virtual presence. I request our support team to kindly play the video clip.
Nashik, an extremely mature chapter, very energetic, and has a legacy. Started with President Kakani. You've had a great leadership lineup, which has held the foundation of Nashik chapter in very good stead. I remember coming there 2 years ago, and the energy of the place and all of you working together. It was a wonderful moment, and I always will cherish that. Taranum has held Nashik chapter wonderfully well through the difficult times, and passing the baton is always a moment of an adrenaline rush. For the person handing over, it's a moment of pride, and for the person taking on, it's a lot to look forward to. Today, at the 30th year of the Nashik chapter, I really wish Vaishali and her team the very best, and I'm sure that it will reach another level. Nashik has a great number of practices which are doing wonderful work, and I'm looking forward to that synergy being built through the practices and the institutes. Working hand in hand, there will be a great synergy which is built up with the younger generation as well. Vaishali and team, I wish you the very best.
I now request Architect Heman Duggar and ID Rakesh Loya to felicitate our trade partners for today's evening, Mr. Subodh Shambhag from Kenwood and Parul Batavia from Plywood Corporation. I request them to share their presentation with the audience. Jitu bhai? Shambhag sir, would you like to share the presentation with the audience?
ते सांगा.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Subodh Shanbag from Canara Woods and Plywood Industries Limited, popularly known as Kenwood. On behalf of Kenwood and Plywood Corporation, Nasik, I am pleased to be here with all the architects and interior designers of Nasik at this event organized by the Institute of Indian Interior Designer, Nasik Region Chapter. We are proud to be associated with your Nasik distributor, Mr. Jitubhai Patavia, and his firm Plywood Corporation. Without taking much of your time, I would like to make a short PowerPoint presentation of our company and the wide range of product manufactured by us in our state-of-art facility at Mangalore. Our company is a part of Yanopoya Group of Industries, having a wide range of business in Mangalore since last more than 7 decades, right from hospitality industry to Yanopoya University, which includes medical colleges, having a charitable hospital of 1,200 beds. Following this short presentation, if you have any queries, please feel free to ask. In the meantime, let us proceed with the same. Thank you very much. Thanks. It's plywood, where we have manufactured plywood, blockboard, flush doors, decorative plywood, and fire doors, masonite doors, panel doors, which we manufacture in Mangalore factory. This is a very, it was established in 1940 by Mr. It was established by the owner of Yanopoya Group. We have warm water resistance, that is commercial ply. We have BWP marine, and we have also platinum plus, which is 100% Gurjan, so-called. We have also commercial ply, which is moisture resistance grade plywood. It is melamine urea formaldehyde synthetic, which has face veneer of 0.6. Now it is 100% termite proof, fungus and water resistant up to 6 hours, 6 centigrade to 3 hours. We have also BWR, which is 303, IS 303, which is also a commercial ply. Then we have, next, we have BWP, which is also a marine ply, but it is not 710, it conforms to 710. It's a marine plywood. We have also platinum plywood, which is also 710. Here it is as per the IS code 710. It's a 100% Gurjan plywood, termite and borer fungus resistant. We don't say it is termite proof, but it is termite resistance. We have also decorative veneers. It is as per IS 1328 certified. It is also melamine urea formaldehyde system. We also manufacture flush doors as commercial flush doors, marine and film face shuttering ply, which is called as. We also have flush doors in commercial and also in solid core doors. It is also vacuum pressure integrated. Now, regarding the battens, they are all chemically treated the chemical what is used is formaldehyde system. It is as per IS 2202. Now, it is phenol bonded, so you don't have a problem when you are using the door or with the laminate on it. It is certified as IS 2202 Part 1. Now this is just a photograph for MR commercial grade where we have used it. It's Canberra wood. Here the new thing is we have fire-rated doors. Now fire-rated doors are for half an hour, 1 hour and 2 hours. They are exclusively made by calcium silicate board and Serra wool and with intimation strip on all 4 sides. Here it is. 30 minutes, 120 and 60. The thickness can be 40, 45, 50, 55. The construction of the fire-rated doors is Serra wool, then calcium silicate board and intimation strip, which is also called as smoke seal. It is as per CTRI and it is as per BS 476 British standard. The places where we have used these types of doors are Rahejas, then Raheja Veera, Powai, Sterling Development, JVPD. Then we have also used this fire-rated doors in Mantralaya, where all the doors are fire-rated doors in Mumbai. We have also done SRS schemes where we have supplied in Pune, we have done in-orbit mall, and in Mahim we have done income tax office projects also. There are a lot of builders where we have supplied directly on or through our dealers. In Santa Cruz, we have supplied for starving developers. These are the places where we have synergy builders, shade developers, Maker Tower, shade builders, Serene Properties, that is SEZ for Raheja, Naman Builders, Sofitel Hotel, and Otis Elevators also we supply fire doors. In orbit, as I told you, in orbit mall, big mall at Vashi, Koinur Mall, Kurla, Universal School, Siddhivinayak Temple at Prabhadevi, Hinduja Hospital Khar, Koinur Hospital Kurla. These are the places where we have supplied. We have some few depots and dealers. In Mumbai, it is at Baikala, Pune, Sangvi, Nasik, Plywood Corporation, and so on, Hyderabad, Chennai, Coimbatore, and Kannur. This is a mark of reality. We deliver what we promise. Quality is the way of life. Thank you, sir. I once again thank you all on behalf of Keynote and Plywood Corporation for giving this opportunity to us. I would like to add, as Jitubai insisted, I have to keep the presentation very short. So we are proceeding for the main purpose, and we have come together in such. This is the shortest presentation by any sponsor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Finally, it's time for the most anticipated part of the evening that we all are waiting for. Presentation by Architect Ravi Sarangan. Before that, I would request Suruchi to briefly introduce him to us.
Ravi Sarangan has co-founded Edifice and is the director of Edifice, a recipient of numerous awards and recognitions from within the fraternity. He has been instrumental in growing Edifice to its current preeminent position within the profession. He currently oversees Edifice's brand management, handles the key clients, and participates in the creative design process. He also delivers lectures on the design and practice of architecture, as well as serves on the jury of various eminent design award competitions. He has many awards to his credit. He has won India's Top Architect CW Architects and Builders Awards in 2018, 17, 16, 14 and 11. The 5th IGBC Green Champion Award winner for architect leading the green building movement in India in 2018. 2015 is won the Design is Award Global Market winner in large office category. 2015 shortlisted for Future Projects Office World Architecture Festival, Singapore, for 142 Rasbihari Avenue. And the list goes on and on. I request Ravi Sarangan to please come on stage and start the dialogue.
No treasure is more valuable than a memorable conversation. It's my pleasure to invite the sparkling, spirited and energetic architect Nitin Kute sir on the dais to initiate a dialogue with our guest architect.
You can put the first slide, the story of So, thank you very much for inviting me over. And it's an honor and pleasure to present my story, the story of Edifice. Hope it's a source of inspiration for many of you young people out here, as well as people who are in the trade and profession. I must thank Nitin for having invited me here, and Deep for this event. Vaishali took a lot of trouble to goad me, and I haven't. I suffered from corona in the month of April, and along with my family members and a proud survivor, and therefore I was reluctant to move out of Mumbai. But let me also thank Kenwood. When I started practice, Mr. Shanbag, I learned from Kenwood, because Kenwood taught those days where the architects sat with the vendors, suppliers to understand products. And it was such a coincidence that I get to see Kenwood's name out here. There were only about 3 or 4 companies which were producing ply then. Kenwood was one of those ones, and I'm so happy to see that they have survived for so many years. A big hand to Kenwood for having. At some time during my practice, I'm going to talk about how important it is to keep egos aside, and you know, we are all team players here. So the architect has to learn to work with the engineer, with the consultants, with the project managers, but most importantly, the architect needs to learn from the carpenter and mason at site. And most importantly, the architect needs to know that the vendor is as critical, the contractor is as critical for the success of the project as much as your design is. So it is a 3 sides of a triangle, equilateral triangle: the client, the architect, which is the consultant, and the contractor. And this, if it's not an equilateral triangle, the project will never succeed. So you need to have that mutual respect, things that I learned over the years. So I'm going to, please sit. So I'm going to take 2 minutes of your time to introduce ourselves, and then I'm going to tell you the story of Edifice. I had carried some more projects, but it's almost close to 8:45, so I don't want to keep you all hungry. I've always attended the presentations from the audience side, and I know how excruciatingly painful it is when the clock starts 9:15, 9:30. So I'll try to keep the story, and the story is lively and will keep you engaged. To begin with, we have 8 offices in the country, and I'm going to tell you, this is not a publicity stunt from my side. It's just a good story for all of you to kind of listen to and then probably emulate. I'm going to tell you about my past, but this is what we are currently. And the reason I'm telling you about this is that you should know how much of hard work has gone into making of this. So we've got 8 offices in the country. We are 30-year-old in practice. We've got 200 plus people. We've finished or handed over 1,500 projects in these years. Our designs need to be sensitive to the climate, context, client, and we need to be proud of every project that we deliver. That's our vision. Okay, and this vision did not start on day one. It's been over the years that it's been built and kind of chiseled. 6 core values. We lay a lot of focus on creativity. We lay, I think, one of the pillars on which this, foundations on which edifice has been built is on integrity. For us, it's key to our success. Highest levels of ownership you will see in every edification, and this is something that we all need to kind of. I didn't need to train the people; it just came because I think if you start setting an example, the others would follow. A huge focus towards competence, and this is something as architects we all need to learn. And probably the Council of Architects is also kind of going to introduce this periodic examinations for practicing architects, right? So it's like the medical professional also. So you need to keep learning, otherwise we kind of learn, forget the art of learning. We care for our people and finally planet. And this is something that which came on late in our career, that how do we make this. As architects, we are leaving behind a legacy. At the same time, we are damaging Mother Earth. We are building something on Mother Earth is always damaging. If you start with that notion, then you will always work towards minimizing that damage. So we care for our planet, and we'll tell you what all we are doing for that. And finally, probably we are the only architectural firm which has been certified at Great Places to Work, because we take very good care of our people. That's the 5th value. We've got presence in all over this glorious country, 5 climatic zones, 5. This country is a mixture of people, culture, and it's every project that we deliver across this length and breadth of this glorious country gives us so much pleasure, because it's different. Each market is different, each client is different, and this was a big firm format that we had in mind, and I'm going to talk about that. We've got verticals within our studio. Each vertical is a distinct set of people, and they work and become experts in that vertical. So if an architect is working in corporate architecture, he or she will work in corporate architecture for a majority portion of his life, till he or she feels that you want to take a break, maybe 5 years, 6 years. Because our projects are large in scale, so it takes at least 3 to 4 years to finish a project cycle. So we've got 6 core verticals, and now we've got 2 more verticals: corporate architecture, interiors, developer spaces, hospitality, healthcare, and master planning. And not all of that started together. I'm going to talk about that as well. So that's sorry about that. So that's the story on edifice. And when Nitin invited me, and then Deep, who studied along with me in college, all of us studied together, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the education that was imparted to us, the time that we spent in college. He had a few questions. So if you want me to start first on this, or you want to ask the questions, please. Whatever.
If you don't mind, I'll ask you some questions.
Sure.
Yeah. Actually, my friend Vijay Patel always says that if you go on stage, rather than talking about the person, you start talking about yourself. But I do that first. I didn't know that this was, along with the installation ceremony, it was my hanging day also.
Thank you for standing.
So, anyway, it's an honor to share the stage with my senior and heartthrob of our college, architect Ravi Sarangan. Ravi, I was starting with Deep, and of course he told you incidentally Deep is Ravi's batchmate from JJ. And Deep mentioned as a child you toured a lot with your father in India and abroad.
Right.
So if you could share those memories and the influence of your father and visits you had with him.
So let me correct that, India, not abroad.
Okay.
So my father shifted in the 1950s to Maharashtra. So we belong to Tamil Nadu, and And I can't read and write Tamil because my parents shifted to the city. I can't read and write Marathi. My father then joined the government then. No, please. My father joined the government, State Electricity Board, and he rose to a pretty eminent Gandhian at heart. And those days, MSCB was one of the most profitable most profitable organization in the state. Imagine that my father was sent for a 2-year stint to England for training by MSCB. He went by ship in the early 50s. The reason I'm telling this story is that we were such a glorious state, and we still are, but I think we've over the years we've kind of eroded in our values and eroded in our ways of working. And then, so these trips which I made with him were when he used to go on tour, and I used to love driving then, and since he was a senior government servant, there was a car provided, we used to go to all these places. I used to come to Vaitarna. So he was in charge of all the hydropower stations in Maharashtra. And when I was 2 years old, there was this Koina earthquake. We were in the epicenter. My father was posted at Chipru, and he got an award from the Chief Minister of Maharashtra because he went in and switched off the power during the earthquake in the powerhouse. Otherwise, electrocution deaths would have been. So I was a small kid. Apparently, in the news reel that those news reels photo came, and so it was a big moment in our life. So I looked up to him. So this was the kind of values that your parents, your forefathers leave behind, and you need to take that forward. So that's that small thing that I learned from him. And of course, this glorious state, right, Maharashtra. So it builds, especially studying architecture in JJ, in Mumbai. I think it just completely molds you as an individual, and things that I learned. I'm going to talk about it, but go carry on.
Yeah, so I've got a question on that. So I'm following it up with 2 questions. Sir, JJ College is an integral part and most important phase of all JJites. You were very popular during college times, not only in JJ but among all students of architecture all over India. That was primarily because of your helping nature and extraordinary public relations. You were always smiling. To a point that a professor named you Hasra Babu. Yeah. So my first question is, how did you develop this skill? To follow it up, in one of your talks you mentioned JJ taught you humility. If you could please elaborate your thoughts on JJ.
Yeah. The first day I stepped in, just as Vaishali was mentioning that I met her in the corridor, some of my seniors met me on the corridor and said, architecture is an extracurricular activity at JJ. So the minute I entered, I heard this, architecture is an extracurricular activity, and it just completely stumped me. But I realized the importance of that statement. What you or anybody, and not just JJ, anything, any institution which of the past. There were 27 colleges of architecture in India when I got into architecture. Now there are 27 in New Bombay, and Thane put together. So at that point in time, and I mentioned about the third point about ragging to teamwork and building. Although there was a point in time when ragging was a done thing, right? Until some time when some of the seniors took it to a level where people suffered. But those days, this was all about team building. This was all about respect, mutual respect. This was all about learning from your peers. As some great educationists said, the colleges are not run by the professors. The colleges are run by the students, right? It's the students who make or break a college. So no wonder when you're surrounded by brilliant people around, you get to learn. So I had the privilege of learning a lot of things by helping our seniors during their thesis, or spending time with them, or just looking at people work on esquis. Esquis are those 3R exercises that, which we used to get. And I must mention, unfortunately, he's not part of this session of your Sanjay Maras. We used to kind of stand in front of him when he used to do his esquis. Brilliant. I mean, these are things that you learn, and there's Rajiv Kasar, Jock, who's also from Classic, and we have plenty of this thing going around. So that taught, most importantly, that this education taught us is to be a good human being. If you are not a good human being with values, you're not going to respect your partners in the making of a building, right? Who are your partners? It's that mason and carpenter. That's the first thing which is was taught in JJ, although not directly. Humility is something that we are all, it was taught in abundance then. But people kept their egos aside and worked together to achieve things, right? It was always the best results were always when group submissions happened, right? You got the best out of, or NASA work. And these were things that, helped mold you as a, and it's rubbish when people say after spending 5 years in architecture, I didn't learn anything. Foundation, on the side of your, was it the right side or left side of the brain, your creativity is being shaped. Your fundamentals of architecture are being built. Your foundation is being built. But on the other side, on the soft skills, on personality development, on values, that institution taught you so many things. It's not just, I think it's across all institutions, it's just that there has been so much of erosion of values, but it's all a cycle. We'll come back, people will learn. I'm seeing the new generation picking up stuff. And till you're in college, you're a hero. The last slide is when you get into professional practice, you're a zero. You come back to college, no one even recognizes you. I had a good time in college. I had great time during NASA, representing NASA, JJ, directly or indirectly, because most of the NASA college professors used to not take us, right? Only the guys who worked on projects. We never worked. We lent a helping hand. And jokes apart, I think professional practice started. And if you have the next question, then I will talk about this. Yeah. So we're making it more a conversation so that we don't miss out on certain things. But I will talk about these.
So Ravi, the next question is that most big companies in the world started from a garage. Want to know what is your garage story? And please take us through your first interaction with Mr. Narayan Murthy and Mr. Narendra Modi.
Yes, that comes in the next slide. But 1987 was when we started as 3 partners, and the company, we couldn't even think of a name then. So suddenly something struck our mind and we said, take 3 architects. So take 3, it's like taking a movie, right? And of course that nobody took us seriously. We have printed our visiting cards with 3 residential addresses of each of us. We didn't have money to set up an office. But those days we could take risks. As soon as we graduated, one of our partners at Padhare & Associates did a professional practice. I did it at Master & Associates, and Sanjay did it at Stoop Consultants. And the minute we finished 16-week professional practice, we started practice on our own. And I remember the first job was a kitchen unit at Chembur Camp. And I must mention this out here. It was very fashionable those days for architects to establish offices in Mumbai in the Fort area. We went just the opposite. We established our office next to our homes. And I'll come to that garage. Reason being, we wanted to come home for lunch. I mean, that was our first idea, and we didn't want to travel that much in Mumbai. It was very difficult to travel. So of course, Take 3 had to change, and we came across an Asterix comic. And in Asterix, there was this idiot architect called Edifix in the palace of Caesar, or one of those books. And we called ourselves Edifice from there on. Of course, the initial joke was nobody knew what Edifice stood for. So when peons, office boys, messenger boys, courier boys used to come, one guy called us Orifice, the other guy called us Edifix, the third guy called us Head Office, fourth guy, I still know it's all there. But the worst was Deficit. So a whole range of names came along, and then we had to explain to them what Edifice meant. So that was a kitchen cabinet that we built, and then it became serious because in 1990 was when somebody told us we have to, I think the circumstances forced us to open our office. This was a 2A collector colony. A collector colony is, I don't know how many of you all know Mumbai, is the land donated by the collector to the refugees who came back after the partition, predominantly Sindhi community. And there was this landlord who gave us this garage space. 16 feet by 9 feet was the size of our office. hardly two drafting boards could fit in, and there was this partition, and there was this a meeting table at the entry. And what we did was there was this one landline telephone which even the landlord used to use, because those days this mobile phone, there was a landline which we had to apply. We got it after 6 months. Those days it was 6 months was actually good time. So the minute we shifted to the office, you started started building capabilities, because we were serious. Flashback in JJ days, the minute we started practice, we were very, very, very serious that we need to build our capabilities, which carry forward those values that we learned in our institution. And the people skills, the part where you mentioned about, diplomacy and people skills, I think that was inherent. You can't, over time you could probably develop it, but it came automatically. Also we learned was, it's important that you may possess some skills on your own, but it's important that when you are interacting with people, you start absorbing those skills. And at that age, when you are between 25 to 30, you're automatically influenced by things going around, especially your clients. So, and we also started learning to manage our money, right? So this was the first few things that happened in that garage. And you asked me about Narayanmurthy, that Narayanmurthy, 1992 was when Narasimha Rao's government took over, and that's when liberalization happened. I think the best period for India has been those years where Manmohan Singh under Narasimha Rao really completely, and we were in a position of we were down to zero, and at that time we had to pledge our go. I don't know how many of you all know about this, but then that's when Mr. Narasimha Rao liberalized the economy, and that's where the new firms emerged. The IT firms like Infosys, Wipro, and was a result of India opening up, and that was the period between 92 and 97. So we got married, as we were marriageable age then, and we decided to get married. So there was added responsibility, and then values. And this is another important thing that was taught to us, that one of the clients gave us this project, and he said that, what if your partnership splits? This was the 20th century finance office, a big office in Marriot, and nobody gave us architecture. Those days it was only interiors. The architecture breakthrough came much later. And so my immediate answer to that gentleman was, the chairman of 20th century, sir, aapka project hone tak nahi hoga, split nahi hoga. So it was prophetic, that chairman's word, because that's when Nitin split from us in 1997. So he made this one statement that man is a monkey, the mind is a monkey. It's easier to handle failure, but the mind becomes a monkey. It's very tough to handle success, and that success led to kind of a split. As a human being, we can all handle failures very well because we learn from it. But the minute success is more difficult to handle. So only a few people can manage success very well. So that was the time when we had the split. And that was it was back to square one, and at that time in 1997 there was a downturn, economic downturn. Those days, 6, 7 years, 8 years, there used to be an economic upswing and downswing. We almost gave up. We thought that we should probably start working under an architect. And there was this small sliver of hope that no, we should continue, right? The whole economy is gone bust. We must try our level best. And then that was the last slide, whether we should be a personality-driven boutique practice or should we be a collective. And we decided that we will be a collective and not a personality-driven office. So from 1977 to 2002, we grew from, after the split, we had reduced to 5, and slowly we started building, and that was when I wrote a letter to Mr. Narayanmurthy at Infosys in 1996-97, saying that, in those days we used to send letters by courier and not email as today. So I typed a letter, sent it to him. Within a week to 10 days, I get a letter back saying that please come and meet us at Bangalore. And that letter was very well written, saying that I really value Infosys values. We are a small firm. We'd like to work with you. How dearly they've lost this ability to communicate to clients, to write to clients, to speak to them and say that we would like to, because we as architects feel that clients अपने पास आने चाहिए. Even today, I write my introductory letters to clients. Although there are many who come directly to us, it's important to build, if you want to maintain a large firm format, I think it's important to kind of get connected to newer people. So I wrote to him and within a week I had to borrow money from my father for this plane fare to go to Bangalore. I met Mr. Mohandas Pai and Mr. Narayan Murthy. Across the table they said they'd like to come and see our office in Mumbai. They're very fond with whatever we had done till then. We had built a substantial portfolio because Infosys had one building there in Bangalore, the Electronic City at that time. He came next month and he said he'd like to visit our office, and we never felt ashamed. We said, we're in a garage, please do visit. And we didn't mention to that. Something happened and he couldn't make it, and Chris Gopalakrishnan, who was the next chairman after Mr. Marriot, we went and met them at Khar, and after that they asked us to design, they came and saw some sites of us, they liked it. We got our first breakthrough to do a largish office in Bangalore. Manipal set us. Till now, no architecture, it's still interiors. Okay, so 7 years of, we have done 1 or 2 architectural projects. But this power of letter writing and the response and the connect and then building up on that, I used Infosys as a springboard and approached all the IT clients in 97, 98. All of them. CTS came to us, then after that I think Wipro came to us. The minute you start handling larger projects, we realize that we have to build, and this is where you need to pay attention, because this is where architects go wrong. You have to build a super process and system. If you're thinking of a large practice, and I'm sure even for a boutique practice this is critical, that you set up, don't go by these huge words, process flow, no, you set up a set of steps that you need to take across the entire stages of the project, which is concept, schematic, design development, tender drawings, and construction management. So we put a set of steps, idiot-proof steps, this after this next step, the third step, fourth step. So for instance, I will not do the electrical and mechanical drawings till my concept is closed out. I will not design, I will not go on to the next stage till my cable trays, where are they entering from the periphery and entering. So all that. Whatever you could think of, we put that as a process flow. And that helped us minimize errors and minimize risks, because the scale was getting larger and larger. If you didn't do that, then you would have sunk. So as the project started becoming bigger, we started getting in this. So I used the same trick. In 1996, I wrote to Mr. Narayan Murthy. In 2005, I wrote to the Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, saying that I have heard so many good stories about Gujarat, we have never worked with the government, we'd like to come and present to you. So 1.5 weeks later, I get a call. Aapne Gujarat CM ko letter likha? I said yes, and I thought somebody was, by which time mobile phones had come in, okay? I thought somebody was, pulling, I had just written an introductory letter. And aapko Gujarat CM kal milna chahte hain. So I said, haan, zarur aunga. Come. So next day I went there, 11 o'clock, by which time this period between 1997 to 2005 or 4, we had done quite a few of projects, large projects. And by which time our first architectural project for Cognizant was also done, and campuses were done, a couple of campuses. This man gave me an appointment for 11 a.m. and I must mention this, before this we had met a lot of corporate leaders and all during our presentation. So this was 10:45, we were all waiting in a meeting room. He asked me for my floppy drive, there was this CD, right? And our presentation was on the CD. And 10:55 we were ushered, and there was a large waiting. 10:55 we were ushered into a room. My first slide was there on the screen. 11, Mr. Modi walks in, and first thing that he does is he sees the screen, and we get up of course immediately, and he does a big namaskar and he says, "Kahiye Gujarat state aapke liye kya kar sakta hai?" I'm a nobody. I'm an absolute, a small time architect who has gone, written to him, "Kahiye Gujarat state aapke liye kya kar sakta hai?" So, and 1 hour presentation, I think the most relevant questions were asked by him. in 2005 on sustainability, energy, Adobe architecture, and things that I've never been asked before. So I thought that surely this man is going to reach some other levels, because, and across the table we were asked to come back at 2 p.m. आप रुक सकते हैं क्या? आपका ऑफिस है गुजरात में, ऐसे नहीं, हम देंगे आपको ऑफिस खोलना पड़ेगा. He said, of course we'll do it. And at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. we came back to him and he said, can you design the BJP headquarters at Gandhinagar? And I said, in 2005 there was not even this term known as net zero. And he said, इसमें एनर्जी बहुत कम कंज्यूम होना चाहिए, उसमें AC BC नहीं चाहिए हम. आप डिजाइन. We said, okay, we'll try it out. But unfortunately, what happened? We started on a good footing. We went ahead, but then he had other ideas to probably rule the country. But his underlings didn't carry that idea forward. But it was built and complete. Again, power of letter writing and communication. So that helped us to expand to other cities, which meant that when Infosys went from Bangalore to Hyderabad, and then they went to Chennai, they called us. So we established our own offices there, small offices. They were like satellite offices, and it just helped us grow. What we did here was, we realized from that 5 to 35, is that if you wish to grow as a firm, you have to invest in people. What we did different from other architects is, we invested in people first. You're worried, right? Salary bills. Today also I'm worried. On the end of the month, how am I going to pay the salary bills? Because for us, all architects, our biggest expenditure is salaries, right? I mean, we are not investing in machinery or whatever. That ticking time bomb, that end of the month, was what prevents you from recruiting. At Edifice even today, if I come across, and I personally look at interviews along with another fellow director, every single, even if it's an intern, I will spare time to do the interview, is we look at talent, we come across talent, we recruit. Clients will follow. It's that famous statement of, I think, Mr. Narayan Murthy and even Richard Branson, who said that you take care of your people first, clients will be taken care of. Your people means your employees, right? So we knew that the trick to get big in size is to invest in people, which we did successfully. I'm so happy to say that we hosted our 30th anniversary year before last, just before the pandemic, on Jan 25th of last year. And there were close to about 300 ex-Edificians, not Edifice team, few of the Edifice team who spent 5 to 10 years, but there were about 300 who came for that event. And it's just that, so happy to see that we have built a strong institution. So that, sorry, a very long answer, but that was, go on, thank you so much.
So the next one is architectural practices in Nasik are generally small scale, and a few offices now have grown to 20 plus in number, and we sometimes struggle to manage the number. How does Edifice manage more than 200 employees pan India with respect to human resource, design process, and other timelines?
Right. This was a glorious period, right? And I'm going to relate to that. It has its pluses, minus, pros and cons. So 2002 to 2007, we were like growing crazy. We had built a large team, we had touched 300. Both me and Sanjay thought that we should retire at the age of 45, 45, and let the next run take over. We had a super delegation system. Even today at Edifice, even the intern in the office, he or she can evolve a design, we will take it forward. It's not that the design is dictated top-down. Values and principles and foundations are dictated top-down, but the creativity part can come from anywhere. So that happens only when you delegate. But at the same time, there's a hierarchy, because you don't have a hierarchy, things can go wrong in India, because there is a carrot and stick in policy that we need to adopt in India, because we're still not all that mature to take as a nation. Second thing that we did was areas where we lacked expertise, like hotels, and it hurt us when during that time when all hotels would go only to international firms. And there were only a couple of firms, I think PG Patki and a couple of firms which were given hotel projects or large projects. They used to invite international firms. We thought differently. We said that it's a time for us to learn. And we continue to collaborate with international firms. And internationally, you find Renzo Piano collaborating with another eminent firm. It's very common, right? We thought that there is this thing in your mind. How will I allow international firms? No, it's not. It's great learning for you because only when you collaborate you learn, right? So we collaborated with international firms on hospitality projects. Again, we grew in size. And in 2007, we reached a point where, venture capitalists, merchant bankers started approaching us, asking us to, whether we're willing to sell off to a larger player. And I still remember that a friend of mine, Abhay Havaldar, he telling me that why should you sell off to an international? You buy an international firm. I started thinking, what are you talking about? Of course. You have it in you, you should buy an international firm. And you won't believe it, we got funding from a merchant banker. We were valued at a particular sum, and we said 25% we were willing to divest, so that you use that funds to buy an American firm. So, see, we should think big. हम लोग cocoon में बैठेगा and we don't think big. I think many there are shining examples in India, especially in the startup thing. Now people are really thinking much beyond, and the younger generation, so they're like it's just crazy thinking. So that was the time then 2008, around that time the Lehman Brothers collapse happened. Economy crashed. We were 300. Believe me and Sanjay didn't even know half the clients, we didn't know half the projects, we didn't know what was going on, but it was going. Funds aata tha, 40 crore turnover, 45 crore turnover, and we were like, what are they called? Those things for the horses, so we were going full straight. But we saw it coming, and we said that now we need to take action. We have grown so fat. In the beginning years of our practice, one person used to do 4 tasks. And in 2008, we saw 4 persons doing 1 task. Now, how inefficient you become when you don't even know what's happening around you, right? Today, the designer does not want to do bill of quantities. The designer does not want to go and check, center line, check and cite. Ridiculous, right? That was happening in 2008. And we really didn't care about the environment. We were looking at scale, growth, and the period. This lesson, when you're selling a stake, there are experts who come and check on edifices, on the companies. They have legal due diligence is done, technical due diligence is done, financial due diligence is done. Whereas architects, we have never taught this in college, right? How to run your practice, financials and all. But we had engaged, and now she's the director in the firm. Sangeeta had just about joined. She's a chartered accountant and lawyer. So another thing, advice for all you people, when you're looking at a practice, don't ask your husband or wife to run your accounts. Engage experts, right? Engage an accountant, engage experts in their individual, because I am more confident.
Please don't tell me that.
Right? So we engage professionals, and that has helped us go one step. That Sangeeta looks after even our legal, so she's done legal. Keshav, a famous architect from Nasik, was also part of edifice. He was looking at the HR function. And so this gave us new leaders and new growth paths. And if you have your next question, I'll probably talk about the collapse.
I have a few questions, but if you want to show some of the work.
So it was all like going up, and then the ship started collapsing, and we saw the economy nosedive. Second lesson that we learned in edifice, the best of lessons are learned. I told you about success being difficult to handle, right? Failure teaches you so many lessons. There's always, and even today, we never pat ourselves on the back. We will look at the faults in your design, in edifice. That's also it's negative, because you need to continue encouraging your people also. So, slowdown led to introspection. From 300, we got the team. It was, I remember, unlike other firms or American firms, we don't immediately retrench. We try to, because we've invested in people, right? So we try to find out whether they're useful in something else or something else. Didn't happen, and I told you about 4 people doing one task, so we try to get the due diligence which was done by those companies. We use that data to kind of find out where we could trim, where we could cut, where we could, get back to shape. We lost a client at the same period. When failures come, it comes as a package deal. It doesn't come as a single SI, no failures. Right? It came as a package. We lost a very key client. We started taking feedback from employees, as to how we should take. And then from most critical, from process and systems, which we were like kings at that. What was happening was when you have process and systems now, people will take the easy way out. You will never get innovation. So if you want design innovation and you have a standard, I shouldn't be saying that at one time Edifice was called a design factory, right? And it hurt us and it pained us, and we realized that if you have to move on from that level to the next level, and that's when version 2 of Edifice started. And we kind of, those 6 values that you talked about, our vision, and it's, don't be ashamed of what's happened in the past. You can always course change. You can always change your course midway. At any age you can change your course. So this was the lesson that we learned, that from 2009 to 2015 we lost a key client. We said that this process systems is now in the DNA of Edifice. How do I get creativity in? And the minute we set a goal that we'll start winning awards, not the next year onwards, 5 years thence. 2015 say we'll start winning awards, and that can only happen if you have talented people, great vision, thought, clarity in mind. So all that we started, it was all about, we got it time sheets for productivity. We saw people were burning out, and that's why he said no. At Edifice, 45-hour week. If gone are those days where and my daughter's also done an architecture, and it's so fashionable. I thought then, even today, 4 night mara, 3 night mara, 5 nights mara. It's so ridiculous. What are we? We're not jungle cats to kind of spend those nights, right? So we realized that if you want productivity, we have capped it at 45. So if any give critical time, you spend 50 hours or 55 hours in a week. Next week, you have to take a 2-day off. And that we've done, and we continue from 2009. We also realized that a lot of our work, there is a lot of standardization which is built in because of the scale-up projects, and we follow this 80-20 principle. 80% of your work should be standards. You shouldn't be reinventing. I think even Richard Meyer talks about it, somebody else talks about it. You shouldn't be working on your staircase, your toilets, at the most make your time, but standardize most of your stuff. And 20% is critical, that can make or break a project. So it was all about design. We formed these verticals, which you just saw. Diversity in designs. You can't find any of our projects looking similar. If you go through our website, each project is different from the other. And then when you lay down a strong foundation and a charter that you will not deviate, we saw results coming in 4 years, 5 years later. And today, I think, at last count, most of our offices are close to net zero. Most of the projects that we have. We don't do it for LEED certifications. We don't do it for GRA certifications. It comes from our art. There are offices that we are designing today where 1 ton of air conditioning cools about a minimum of 550 to 600 square feet. There are offices which have gone up to, and conventionally all of you know that 1 ton cools about 200 square feet or 225 or 250. So we have kind of shifted our goals. We are doing the Ministry of Renewable Energy headquarters, which is an energy positive building in Delhi, where I am not taking anything from the grid. 4 or 5 campuses are we doing where it's not that range of 600, 700 square feet, 500 square feet, and all using common sense. Nothing but getting back to basics, getting back to your roots, orienting the building right, using glazing only in the north, protecting your west, shading your south, all of this. And it's simple cardinal principles. Finally, I think this started yielding results, and then that was the time we set up our own foundation, which is our own registered NGO run by the employees at Edifice. where we started giving it back to society. We run 2 schools, 3 schools, one in Bangalore, one in Orissa, and one in Mumbai, and run by the employees, where we take care of the, led to new talent from eminent institutions. We started getting talent from all Indians from all over the world. So we started getting it from Harvard and Berkeley and SET and SPA, things that, Edifice first of all was seen as a factory, right? Design factory, I was mentioning. But slowly we started getting talent, and the whole thing about our focus shifted. Then we started collaborating with Indian firms. Studio Mumbai, we took part in, Vijay is a good friend of mine, we studied together, so we took part in 2 competitions. With Nimish Patel, who's no more, we came second in IIM Udaipur, second or third, which was won by B.V. Doshi. And IIT Jodhpur, we came second again, which was won by Sanjay Prakash. So this was a turning point. All this happened during that period, sensitizing. If you work with Nimish Patel or Vijay Jay, there's so many things, good things get rubbed on you. And so that was Edifice's version 2. Sorry, next question.
Do you want to show some slide of your work?
No, I don't think so. Everyone will be hungry, but I'll continue with this because there are. Sure.
You'd like to see some work, right?
We'd like to see some work. So finally, we continue to build India. So I think this is the proudest moment for us, and I'm so happy to state this fact that I think all of us have a responsibility to leave behind a legacy for the next generation. And as architects, we need to be extremely responsible on what we do, how we do. This led to, let me tell you this approach of ours, version 2, led to an increase in fee. And automatically it resulted. And we could sense that we are putting in so much effort, we could command a higher fee and we were getting that. So this is the final philosophy of us, that we are a collective, and we believe that sensitivity should be that one quality. Every project that we handle should go beyond mere green certifications and be genuinely sustainable. It should improve the well-being of its occupants. I think it's critical. And what we are doing in the newer projects is engaging with the artisans and craftsmen of that region to reintroduce art into my facility. I think that's another thing that we should seriously look at so that culture remains along. So, if you can show the next project. I'll just show you quickly a project that we are doing at Kerala. And I chose specifically a mixed-use project because a mixed-use project is probably one of the more complicated. Start with the feasibility. If anybody is hungry, please raise your hand because I hate to see nobody. There should be some brave individual. There, somebody raises. Oh no, it was like an umpire. Okay, then we start off with, quickly I'll run through it. I'll tell you what we do in a stage of a project. We first do a feasibility. All these large scale projects, it's imperative. Most of the clients, and we've seen this happening, and a lot of the architects will agree, and we've done a complete analysis. We do that, a post-mortem of every project, and we realize that the biggest culprit in the delay of a project, can you tell me, just shout out, who's the biggest culprit for delay in any project?
Architect.
Second, if somebody said architect? Labor. Somebody? Anybody else? 80% is your client. 80%. And this is not, if you do your analysis of your projects, you will find your client is the biggest culprit because data is not clear. For them, it's a hobby. Right? The project that they do. I'm sorry, I'm talking about this. They are patrons of architecture, but if you don't get your design brief right, your feasibility right, don't go into the concept stage and waste everyone's time. So we did this feasibility for a project at Kerala. This is in a place called near Kottayam, and obviously we study the culture, context. So this brief came from their project managers who had done a complete analysis of what the client wants. So the design inputs given to us was have a courtyard, double-light food court. It was a retail mall, okay, so which had a hotel, which had a convention center, and this is big business. All of us know that a hall of this size or even bigger is used for marriages, right? In India, convention hall is, I don't know why they call it a convention hall. It could be called a marriage hall because it's booked well in advance. And 1,200 people, they wanted a multiplex cinema, a shopping center with high street boutiques and hypermarkets. So in short, it's like our 4th year of architecture. You know, in JJ we got design a hospital, come bank, come everything in one plot. So we then, you know, analyze each of these spaces for hotel, for convention center, and for multiplex. What are the components required? This is your, and then we did a contextual site analysis. I don't know why is it appearing as half. Sorry about this, but you will get a fair idea. So then we started mapping which are the nearby shopping centers, which are the nearby competitors. This was although the client is not a developer, but it's nice to study what is around you, right? So what can I do differently if there are things that need to be done? Of course, the public transport, what is the nearest public transport, what are the major roads, minor roads, then come, so from a macro level, I come then to the site, identify which is the residential area, commercial. This is all part of a feasibility study. And then come to the site per se. And this is where I think our first reaction was that this portion of the land had some great trees. So we wanted to preserve that. So the trees were mapped, the contours were mapped, the access roads. Can you go down? Yeah, just go down. Then we did the site analysis. We took snaps. We have a small office in Kochi, but the data is gathered from there. We mapped out each of those locations. And go on, please. Yeah, go on. Go. So once the site photographs, you see that the trees are more on the periphery, so we ensured that. Go on. That was there was an existing nala, a stormwater drain, which we talked to the authorities and we could reroute it, and we've ensured that the same 2 right angles are maintained. So you don't have too many bends for the stormwater drain. Go on. And then, obviously, this is unfortunately when I interview candidates today, the first thing I ask them that what do they think about when they first put pen on paper. The first thing that most of them answer is the code. They never talk about context, they never talk about climate, they talk about the code. You should keep the code as and it is there. We have to live with it, but that's not the most critical thing when you put your pen on paper. The code tells you area, setback, parking, etc. Go on, please. And then, and then we analyze it. Please go on. Client requirements was further spelled out. We did the SWOT analysis of the site. What are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? And this is critical because then you work on the opportunities, you work on the strengths of the site, and try to eliminate the threats. Yeah. Typical threat would be who's your neighbor, what is that development going to be like, what is the plot size. Then we establish the maximum, obviously retail being retail needs your maximum frontage. So various zoning options were done as to how the grey masses be retail. And then we started doing option 1 where we took the yellow mass as the retail. The hotel block came with the multiplex, okay, the retail. Then the hotel block came with the rear. The brown block was the banquet attached to the hotel, and so on and so forth. Option 1, then we did the hotel coming in the front, did sectional studies. So we're still on option 1. Then option 3, where we took the hotel slightly in the front. The reason I'm saying this is that we tend to kind of ignore the various options. I mean, try to force yourself to work out all the kinds of possibilities. In this feasibility, it doesn't take time. It's just that how can we get each of this? And there are, of course, 3 critical things. One is circulation, because the hotel circulation needs to be different from your retail circulation, from your banquet circulation. Because banquet is 1,200 people, hotel is guests of 60, and then you have a retail which is a different crowd. Hotel operators also don't want, for security reasons, after 26/11, that they would like a separate entry, separate parking. So finally, we kind of arrived at this, where the hotel was at right angle to this main road. Then you had the retail, you had the hotel entry happening on the ground, which was a jump lobby where the all-day dining happens at the lowermost level. You take an elevator and you go out. What it did was the brown banquet then got a terrace as well to enjoy. So this was the final kind of form that emerged. And then we realized that certain things cannot be done. So if you notice that the multiplex does not have, the rules don't allow you to have anything built over the multiplex, don't allow you anything about the banquet, because the banquet needs a column-free area, right? So we kept it right on top. So option 8 happened, and after this, option 9, option 10, we then did option 9, we started working on tentative retail planning, because the client had almost signed off on something, and then we realized that then we did this. Can you just scroll up? Yeah. All the options were put in a kind of a matrix in terms of drain, FSI, retail, ground level, banquet outdoor, parking design, segregation of parking, mechanical, MLCP, and basement. All this was done, and then we kind of tick marked which is right, which is wrong, which is right, which is wrong, and then finally we realized that option 9 was the best option to take forward, or option 8. Now go to the next presentation. Promise you, 10 more minutes will be done, so just go down. So after this feasibility, of course there are many more slides on this one. We also tackle infeasibility, electrical input, how much of, how is the drainage, the site was like sloping. After this is when we start on our concept presentation, and all this remains the same. You remember I talked about this slide, right? So just go down a bit, please. Scroll down. So we had discussed and we said that we will take option 8 forward. And then we started off, what are the most important components which will come here, the public plaza, discrete hotel zone, interconnection, and there should be a robust crowd management as well. We did this flow chart from a public entry, how do I get to the lobby, banquet lobby, I told you there are 3 distinct zones, and from within the hotel, how do I go to each of these areas, and how do I manage the service, very critical. While the front of house is all of this, back of house, how do I handle it? Because there needs to be a service entry to take care of the waste in a hotel, receiving docks for the hotel, staff entry, and then we started detailing out the plans. So you'll find that the hotel entry is separate, your retail entry is separate. You come in, or you go down at the hotel, or you go through the retail back here. The basement entries are separate. Although the basement is one, the hotel guys will go in here, the retail guys will go in from here. So setbacks 9 meters left. I don't want to bore you with the plans, and that's where my service entry happens. So it's separate from my hotel entry and the banquet entry. There's a separate service entry which services the mall as well as the hotel. And we had to, of course, talk about the fire tender entry and exit as well. Then we started dealing, we generally tend to ignore column positions at concept stage, and then we try to talk to the structural engineer. I think it's imperative that you take care of your tentative column positions that's your multiplex level, the food court level, and then the banquet level. That banquet level, because it's on the highest point, I got 1200 capacity divisible by 3, and the multiplex roof also was seen. And then the hotel rooms start on top, where there are, the 8x4 grid completely falls on that. The basements, the sections critically handled, and then we started with the renders. Can you go down slightly? So that's your retail, that's the hotel on top. You see the little bit of retail on the ground. He wanted the more dead walls here so that you are forced to enter here. Next. Oh, sorry. That's how the banquet enters into the pre-function area. So that's your retail entry. That's my hotel entry which happens. That's the service entry. These were first cut renderings. These are not high quality renderings. At the next stage we then produce, because again you tend to waste time if you start producing high quality renderings. This is good enough for the first, these are, go on please. Kerala, the retail experience is extremely amazing. If you put a jeweler shop there, there will be a mile-long queue out there. So retail is all about, large format stores there. That's your hotel entry. Scroll down a bit. So that also gets its prominent entry. And if I forgot about the plan, the hotel entry has the all-day dining also on the ground floor, which is accessed by the retail as well. So there is, from the retail side also you can access it. And then we did another option where the retail stayed here and the hotel split. And they joined with the banquet level. So this was the second option that we did. All the rest remaining the same. There's a gap in the building between the two. This is also a workable plan, but and the advantage of this was that the rooms get to see good views. Whereas in this case, one set of rooms are facing the banquet roof. It's not a very tall. So those are the 3D renderings of the hotel block, which is separated from the mall block. And then we have to give the areas, the option A, option B. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you for your time and patience, and I conclude. If there are any questions, please let me know. Nitin, if you have any further questions, sorry. You may want to finish this.
No, it's okay. I think we'll, from my side, we'll stop because we should have given you more time, but
no, that's fine.
Yeah, because to have a rare opportunity to have a dialogue with a person with such a big organization. But unfortunately, maybe because of time, we'll stop here and thank you so much, Ravi.
Thank you. And thanks, and all the best to Vaishali and team. I see all the women dressed in black. It was deliberately chosen to be coordinated this way today, and also the men. Very nice to see. Thank you so much, and for inviting me over. And hope I could leave some amount of impact on some of the minds out here. If any of you have questions, please feel free to ask, and anybody. Our picture is the only odd one that's in green, landscape.
So you shut my mouth, right?
I know.
I think they're all hungry. So
yeah, okay. Yes, please.
Indeed, it was an interesting story, as you have said.
So you can ask. I'll repeat the question.
Are you writing to the PMO now for some new?
Oh, good question. So this is a story I must narrate. We pay our taxes on time, and it's all the refunds that come used to take a lot of time prior to 2012-13, and it used to hurt us when our own income tax refunds used to take so much time. And I think Manmohan Singh had started this automated thing, but he didn't implement it, and this government started implementing it, so you get your returns, right, refunds, and without any faceless interactions and things like that. So and prior to that, it was tough to get your refunds. You had to grease palms, very, very dirty. So we were getting our refunds regularly until 2017, and for some strange reason, 17, 18, and 18, 19 didn't come. So we wrote to many people. In that, we wrote to PMOs, saying that our refund nahi aaya, we are honest taxpayers. Why are we being harassed this manner? Then Corona happened, and our finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced a lot of. She said refunds is something that she'd like to. Some wise man in our organization said, hey, we should try Twitter. We have PMO, VMO and all is not working. Let us try Twitter. So we said, okay, three of us got together. Sangeeta, finance head, also got together, and the social media team in my office, the young kids, they said, they at FM, I think her team was, her handle is at FM Sudhana. We are this. In that limited, I think you can use, I'm not at Twitter, I think 60 words. Is it 60 words? So like, you can use that. In that, we consult, okay, we are an honest tax-paying architectural firm. We have been hurt. 2017-19 has not come. Hence, the next year has not come, and we are suffering. This Twitter went, 5 दिन में हम लोग को Twitter response. Please share more details. 4 साल कुछ नहीं, 3 years nothing. Please share more details, and we will try to help you out. Next week, first return came. No questions asked. Next day we get a call. Sir, आपका वो refund आ गया. जरा thank you डालो ना Twitter. I'm not joking. So we wrote thank you at FM for our income tax refund. No, this is a lesson for all of you. I mean, the power of social media, amazing. उसके अगले हफ्ता वो रिफंड पे आ गया. And we wrote thank you. We didn't have to be reminded, but we wrote. It's just that since you asked me, we wrote to PMO, we wrote to everyone. I think as citizens we have every right to ask for our own money. It happened and it happened so well. But I think that all of this is originated, and if you read a book, there's this gentleman asking, if you read a book called India Unbound by Gurcharan Das, he talks about how India emerged from our independence, went through this draconian Indira Gandhi period, and then how, if ever we are all existing today, is that one man, I think it's Narasimha Rao, who kind of completely transformed India. And of course a bit of Vajpayee, and of course whatever they have left behind, anybody can take it forward now.
Ravi, thank you for excellent presentation. I have a question. Handling such a big office, so many people, so many challenges, and you are living in Mumbai, which is a very stressful place to live. We in Nashik have all the nature around us and a lot of creative space. How do you handle stress and still keep your creativity and things alive?
So he asked me to, some of you in the rear may not have heard this question. He asked, how do you handle stress, large organization? So of course, as in every, though it's hereditary, so I have blood pressure and Sanjay has blood pressure. So that was an early warning sign. And it is stressful at the end of the month to pay your salary bills. It's not a joke. But we've got robust processes and systems, but still the big monkey out there, right? Client has to pay on time. That's your biggest stress. Creativity, I think we have separated it out from, so we don't allow this stress to creep into the creative minds. This financial stress ends only with the top level within edifice. Nowhere do we talk money with the rest of the team. We did that before, and it didn't yield good results. So you have to kind of segregate the two. I think what Corona has taught all of us, and at least me about 12 or 14 years back, I started running. Personally, I still play my cricket for my team at 55 and I enjoy my game. I'm probably the oldest on the field there. I took up running in about 12, 14 years back, running and gymming. And it's a lesson for all of us. We need to keep ourselves fit. Yoga, running, games, anything. But I think that's something that is probably helped quite a few of us to keep oneself fit. Is no. No, I think Corona also has taught us, right? I think need to take care of our body. Mind and soul will follow. Yeah, please, you can shout out.
Do you do PMC in-house, like you are doing projects all over?
Architects can never be project managers.
So, how do you collaborate with PMC firms and how that collaboration, because designing and executing these two things, how do you
So we realized early on in our lives that we are not, architects can never be project managers. We will be drawing a sketch right till the last day of the site inauguration. Our designing is never complete. So you need an engineer to keep a check on the architect. And that's where the project managers come in. Good project manager will definitely yield results, but most of the project managers that I would say most, many of them are just paper pushers, and adding another layer to your project actually kills it. A good site architect from your end, right? From the architect's end or from the interior designer's end can produce incredible results. But at the same time, tracking schedule, tracking safety, tracking costs has never been our strength as architects. We're never good in, because I think it kind of numbs your creative side of things. Once a budget is in place, I think you should give the architect the freedom. Monitoring is done by a project manager. So we partner with project management firms or engineers with that experience. Yeah.
With the advent of working from home, how do you see future of commercial spaces, and does that has impacted your process while designing?
if 6 more months, we've had enough of this work from home. I don't think we emerged from a hunter-gatherer past. We used to, I'm sorry I'm using this word, the men went out to hunt. I think the women have joined the men to hunt now. And therefore, work always forces you, we are not disciplined enough to work from home. This is a temporary blip, it will pass, and you need a work environment to work. You need to collaborate to work. It cannot be done through Zoom and Microsoft Teams and Google Hangouts. So the future is extremely bright, and hats off to the guys who have worked on the vaccine. And this will be another phase in our lives which our forefathers and our ancestors taught us to wash our hands. Our grandmothers never allowed us in without us taking a bath. It's just teaching you same lessons. Use copper vessels to drink water from. I think maintain basic hygiene, reducing densities was one of his questions. Keeping social distancing, have lesser such events. I think the future is bright with commercial spaces, and not just commercial. With this, I was just telling Nitin, with this PLI performance-linked incentive scheme of the government, you will find Nasik to be one of the biggest manufacturing hubs. China is on its way out. You will find this entire belt of Nasik, Pune, if the state governments apply their mind. You see the way Telangana is taking away business from most of the states because they have a dynamic team out there. Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi, both of them, used to send their teams to, I'm sorry I'm digressing, but it's critical. They used to send their teams to US and other places to attract business. Our government thought Ford will come and set up because Ford had Mahindra Ford. They thought that they will set up. They went and set it up at Chennai. We lost business. Samsung was supposed to come here, Chennai. It hurts us. So we need to have at local level people to be proactive. You see that guy who shifted from Kerala to Telangana. You know about it, right? Crores of worth of business has gone to Telangana. Because Kerala, you take one step, there are 3 union guys to pull you back. And it's called God's own country. It is God's own country in terms of nature. You can't do business. Yeah.
How do you rate like Maharashtra against Gujarat work-wise? Because all the factories
I haven't done too much of work in Gujarat, unfortunately.
But how do you, because what problem you are saying, the union problem and all that, even Nasik has faced all that. So most of the industries have shifted from Nasik to Pune or Gujarat. So how do you tackle this? I mean,
it's a very sad state of affairs. So I think we need to have a huge, see if there are labor laws introduced, you see the farm laws, all the rich farmers are thwarting this farm laws.
why do you think Mahindra went from Nasik to Pune and Chennai? Everything got shifted.
So it is like how Chandrababu Naidu used to take away business from everywhere. Huh? He used to promise them land, electricity, infra, and much cheaper rates than anybody else. The paperwork to set up AMS was a surgical instrument factory which was supposed to come in Maharashtra. The Gujarat bureaucrat came down, presented in Mumbai, and they went and set it up at Baroda. So it's you have to be proactive. And don't blame the politicians and bureaucrats. You have to do it from you.
How do we do it? Because politicians apart, we also can contribute. All of us together. How can we go about it?
I think we need to set examples. On our own, we need to set examples and show that business can be done effectively. We have to, Gandhiji had said, you be the change you wish to see.
Thank you.
I understand that the conversation is very interesting, but I would request to continue the conversation over the dinner after the session is done.
Thank you very much.
Indeed, it was an interesting story as both of them on the stage has really created. This is one of the most interesting presentations I have ever attended.
So I just recall onto one interesting poem which is dedicated to the temperament of the guests that we have today. Dreams need people, but people need dreams. Vision needs someone to make them real, it seems. So hold on to your dreams, believe that you can. Nobody can stop you, that's the story of the man. So big applause for our guest. I'll now request our chairperson, Architect Vaishali Pradhan, along with ID Akash Kadam and Architect Ravi to please proceed towards the stage to felicitate both the guests. So here we are, we have reached the end of a mesmerizing evening today. To sum it all up, I would request Honorable Secretary, IIID Nashik, Rupali Zaikirkar, to convey thanks to all who made this wonderful evening possible today. Thank you everyone. First of all, thank you Architect Ravi on behalf of IIID team Nashik for gracing us with your vibrant presence on this occasion of installation of the new team under the leadership of Vaishali. Thank you so much for taking time out in these trying times. Thank you also Architect Nitin and Apeksha Kutte for your support and active participation. On behalf of IIID Nashik, I thank you both. After a hectic month of event and term planning and gaining the confidence and support of all our program partners, we thank each and every one of you who came forward
to associate with us in the coming term, in their own big or small way. Most sincerely, I thank today's program partners. I thank Parul Batavia and Jitubai Batavia and Mr. Subodh Shanbag from Kenwood, who came forward on a single request and gave us the assurance for planning out today's evening. Thank you so much. On this occasion, I also thank the leadership of all our other fraternity institutes such as IIN, ANE and CRIDAI, etc. for extending their best wishes, as also the members of the press and the media. Most of all, dear members, thank you so much for your quick and timely response for this program. We had to restrict attendance to a certain number this time, but we hope that the situation and the reason for this will improve soon. It is your enthusiasm that helps us and encourages us to bring you more. Thank you also Suruchi and Ritu for being such wonderful hosts. Thank you everyone once again and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
I request the entire EC and our guest, Architect Ravi Sarangan, to please proceed to the stage to have a group photo.
Everybody is asked to join us for dinner. The dinner is served. EC, please come to the stage.
EC members, committee members, please proceed towards the dais. Committee members, please proceed towards the dais.
Hello guys.